Ladies and gentlemen, if any of you are NBA fans and have somehow stumbled across this channel, you know as well as I do that with every single season that comes and goes, there's usually those 2 to 3 NBA teams that end up exceeding their preseason expectations by a pretty substantial margin. And if you've been watching your fair share of basketball this season, you know there are a couple of teams that immediately come to mind when thinking about this. And some of these teams you originally thought of could be examples like the Charlotte Hornets, the Memphis Grizzlies, or even the Washington Wizards, but undoubtedly the team that has been turning the most heads so far into this season, at least turning the heads of those who are paying attention, is none other than the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because if any of you are watching are not aware of what this team has been able to accomplish thus far, I'll just say I'm very glad you're here today. Because this current Cavs team is essentially breaking the mold of what has made the majority of successful NBA teams over the course of the last couple of years. And yes, how they have been able to do so is what we are going to be getting into in today's video. One sec, if you guys haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those noties to never miss another NBA video. Love you guys. And if you're a regular around here and you still haven't done so yet, I'm really hoping you reconsider, because according to my numbers, around 96% of you guys coming back to watch the content haven't even subscribed yet. So for any of you that do, I appreciate you more than anything. Thank you so much. But anyway, let's get back on topic with the one and only Cleveland Cavaliers. Because if you've really just been following your specific team or the mainstream NBA media over the course of the last few months, you more than likely have not heard much about this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and believe me, they deserve all of the recognition that we are about to give to them and then some. Because for this Cavs team, who was projected to finish this season with a 27-55 record, currently just over a third of the way into this NBA season, sits at a 17-12 record and the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. Yes, you did hear this correctly. The Cavs are an upper echelon team in their respective conference almost halfway into an NBA season. In fact, just to show that the league isn't sleeping on them either, the Cavs in this week's latest NBA power rankings were ranked the 5th best team in the entire NBA at this point in time. And I know there might be some people that are going to try to play the card and say that the Cavs have had a relatively easy schedule up until this point, and that there is no reason to expect them to finish the year as they have started it. Well, it's a good thing I'm here to tell you that anybody trying to make this argument quite literally could not be any farther from the truth. Because in fact, so far this year, the Cavs have had the second hardest schedule out of any team in the entire NBA, just behind the Portland Trail Blazers. And yes, of course, everything I've said so far about the Cleveland Cavaliers is great and whatnot, but it still leaves the overlaying question, which is how in the world is this team doing what they are? Because if any of you watching do remember, the Cleveland Cavaliers did make quite a bit of noise this offseason and did make some headlines as well, but a majority of these headlines were not necessarily what the Cavs had in mind. Because if you were to say the Cavs added some size to their rotation this offseason, I think that would be the biggest understatement in the history of understatements. Because even with having a very solid big in Jarrett Allen, the Cleveland Cavaliers decided to draft Evan Mobley alongside him in the front court and even get Lauri Markkanen as well, which, in case you didn't know, has brought the total amount of Cavs players over 6'8" to 7 out of the 17 total players on this rotation. If you want to talk big man ball, especially in today's day and age, believe me, this is the pure definition of it. Now believe me, I'm not saying that this is the only reason the Cavs have seen the unprecedented amount of success that they have, but it is definitely one of the biggest reasons. Because with this style of play and rotation, especially in the small ball era, some teams have simply not had an answer as to how they are going to be able to stop this type of rotation for 4 quarters. And on top of this, it's even easier for the Cavs to win when they're producing the all-star level type of talent that they currently are. And yes, when I say all-star level talent, believe me, I mean it when I say it, and the numbers show for it. Because the Cavs' top 2 leaders this year have undoubtedly been both Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen, who it's safe to say are putting up career numbers on a top-tier Eastern Conference team. Now, I'm not saying that both of these guys are going to make an all-star appearance, but if we don't see at least one of these guys come February, I think we're going to have some problems. But besides these two, we also got to talk about the absolute gem the Cleveland Cavaliers got out of the 2021 draft in Evan Mobley, because like the rest of this team, if you haven't been paying attention to at least this man, I feel sorry for you. Because right now, I think it is safe to say that he is the clear frontrunner for the 2022 Rookie of the Year, while putting up some very solid solid averages of 14 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. And another solid reason as to why the Cavs are quote-unquote breaking the mold of what makes successful NBA teams nowadays is in fact within everything that I just listed off to you guys. Because out of almost every Cavs starting five that we have seen so far this year, there is typically not one person in that rotation that is over 24 years old. This team, which for the most part is young, scrappy players that are trying to prove themselves every single night in this league, have in almost every aspect taken this league by complete storm. And with being able to have a starting rotation like this and it be as efficient as it's been, it allows the Cavs to do something they probably didn't expect them to be able to, and that only upper tier teams in both conferences are able to, which is having savvy and needed veteran experience off the bench to be a successful team. And these roles for the Cavs this year are being filled in by none other than Kevin Love and Ricky Rubio. Because I think it's a consensus idea that most NBA fans would think that Kevin Love and Ricky Rubio could be starters on almost half of the NBA teams right now. But instead, they're coming off of the bench for the Cavs, doing things for this team that so many others around the league desperately need right now. As even when you take a look at the numbers they have been putting up so far this year, I wouldn't even be surprised if many people thought that they have been starting this whole year with how productive they have been. All in all though, I'm just really happy to see that they accepted these roles, because believe me, these guys are paying dividends for this Cavs team coming off of the bench. But you guys, I am pleading to you right now, if you have not watched any Cavs basketball so far this year and somehow have access to do so, I know it sounds weird to say, but this team is fun, it's exciting, and it's must-see NBA basketball. But for any of you Cavs fans or people that have watched the Cavs so far this year, I know I probably didn't cover everything you wanted to hear in this video, so please let me know in the comments what has stood out most to you about this Cavs team so far into the season. And on top of this, why don't you all let me know what you think the Cavs record is going to be at the end of the year. Right now, they are projected to be a playoff team, and I truly think that they are going to get there, but I want to know if you guys think they can get there as well. But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and subscribe while you're down there. I truly cannot say it enough, you guys. We're coming out with brand new videos every single week around here, and believe me, the fun is just beginning so far into the year. You don't want to miss it. But on that note, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for watching. I appreciate all of you guys more than anything in the entire world. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.